Greetings, programs. I am your host, Diego Crespo, and welcome back to another special episode of the Waffle Press Movie Hangouts. You know what this is if you've read the title. But first, let me reintroduce you to my co-host, Gina Versa.
Hey, how's it going? I'm going to do my Jeff Bridges impression from Tron Legacy, where he goes, yeah. We were messaging each other about that bit. Such a
that's we have a lot of Jeff Bridges impersonations coming up, I'm sure. But also here, they are not impersonations, are the team over from the Trammin Podcast, our friends Kirk, Bagdasarian, and Christian Rainwater.
Hello there. From inside the end of line, my name is Kirk, and as always, I'm joined by my friend and solar sailor, Christian Rainwater.
I do it for the users.
I fight for the users.
Oh, no!
Every time.
Yeah, every time I mess up, it's part of the bit now.
Keep it rolling.
Thanks
for having us.
Yeah, no, we're happy to have you guys. We know you guys very well, but I don't know if our users know you very well. So why don't you guys go ahead and just give a little introduction to yourselves, to Trammin, and just all that nonsense.
Who's doing it? Is it me?
This sounds like a little bit of mousekeeping.
Yeah, we do. Okay. We're not doing the whole thing.
This is your first time here. Welcome aboard Trammin A Disneyland Podcast.
No, okay, you can't do the whole thing.
All right, yeah. I'm Christian Rainwater, mainly known as Rain.
Yeah, and I'm Kirk, and we have Trammin A Disneyland Podcast, where we take you guys through our experiences, memories, all that kind of thing.
We talk about Disneyland a lot.
Yeah, and that's it. No history, no authoritative stuff. News, we get it wrong all the time. Who cares? So check us out, trammin.com, and at Trammin Podcast on Instagram.
Please.
Check them out, because I don't even go to Disneyland that often, but
yeah,
neither do we.
No one does, except unless you live in Florida.
Yeah. So, well, this is your show. Why are you looking at me?
well, I thought there was going to be more there. That's good. Yeah. I thought Rainwater had something else, but no, I'm glad you guys are here, because we're here to talk about a very, very special event today, and it is the 10-year anniversary of Tron Legacy, the 2010 film directed by Joseph Kosinski. But before we get into that, we gotta go through a little bit of plugs. We always do plugs at the beginning of the show, or sometimes we do plugs at the beginning of the show. Right. Then we always talk about what else we've been watching recently, because we're going to talk about Tron Legacy for the rest of this podcast. But before I get to what Gene and I have been watching recently, Kirk, I'm going to let you go first, because I know for a fact, as someone who has been on the podcast many moons ago, you watch maybe one movie every 30 years.
What's that one movie?
So this year we actually had a segment called Kirk's Community of the Week.
There you go.
And I watched like Inside Out. I watched Bolt.
You watched Hamilton.
I watched Hamilton. Hamilton sucks.
It's all on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
pretty much all Disney Plus stuff. Yeah,
yeah. It's because it was
subscription.
Yeah. But I've been watching Mando, but this is a movie podcast, so
yeah.
No. You know what? That's totally fine. Easy plug for us. The day after this goes up, we'll be talking about the Mandalorian season finale.
Cantina Hangouts, right?
Cantina Hangouts.
Love that name, dude.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
I have never been so happy with one of my naming things for these podcasts. I'm usually like, Gene, what's the name? Or like, Matt, what's the name? Like, I got nothing. That's the one. That's the one I had. So thank you.
Of course.
But okay, really quick, I just want to, because we always do tangents and bullshit nonsense.
I did watch Tron Legacy last night, so
there you go.
Okay, well, yeah, we're here to talk about that. Kirk, last year you and I had a conversation where I was like, I was insulted because the episodes felt cheap and I didn't like the first season. And then I saw you the day after, or like the week after the first episode aired for the second season. I was like, yeah, I think I like it now.
Yeah.
I'm here to tell you that I really like it now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everyone else who's turned on the show is probably not wrong, but I think they expected it to be something else than it was, and so that's on them. Whatever.
Just give Dave Filoni everything, man. That's what I'm saying.
Just give him don't let him direct anymore.
That's too much power.
Just the
too much
Kevin
power
Feige.
for one man.
Huh?
Oh well, that's too much power for one person.
Yeah. I mean, let him run. Like take it away from the board.
Kathleen
what I
Kennedy.
mean?
I agree. Well, Kathleen Kennedy she's like a better producer than 90% of Hollywood. But
I heard she's like a great producer, but like she should.
Dude, like
Is she a creative?
every movie I see from the 80s or whatever, I see produced by Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, her and her husband.
Her husband owns Universal right now. So
all right.
Woo. Yeah. So like she's, because I don't want to spend too much time on that, but like everyone on the internet like hates her because she's in charge of Lucasfilm and they don't like the movies she made, and like whatever. Yeah. I don't hate her. I just sometimes disagree with her. Women, that's all.
You know.
Yeah. Well, like she's done good movies. She's done bad movies. It happened with everyone. That's all. Yeah. Nonsense. Rain, what have you watched recently?
Oh God.
All right. So the past 3 or 4 days, I've watched about 30 episodes of DuckTales. The new DuckTales.
Wow, I heard it's really good.
Dude, it is ridiculously good. Like it doesn't deserve to be that good. Even though the original DuckTales is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it gives homage to like almost every Disney Saturday morning cartoon, like Tailspin, Darkwing Duck. It just calls back to everything and puts like a little twist on it, like a modern twist on it.
Can I spoil our next episode? Not of Mando, of our podcast. Sure. We have a correction, so we'll read it on our show too. RJ writes in, our good friend RJ. Tell Rain he's delusional and that the DuckTales reboot was horrible and it deserves to be canceled. Nope. In my opinion, it doesn't stick true to the comic and tries to bank on nostalgia for poor story writing. My main thing is that the original DuckTales would teach you life lessons, while this one tries to be the Fuller House of 90s Disney cartoons.
No, is he watching the same show?
Isn't it getting canceled though?
Yes.
Yeah, it didn't get renewed. It didn't get canceled. It didn't get renewed. All right. I guess it's the same thing. But
I'll do the Darkwing Duck spinoff or something.
Yeah, let's get dangerous.
I don't know.
Okay, is that all you've been like? You want to highlight?
Watching Survivor,
dude. I've been binging the heck out of Survivor. What a show! Right. I subscribed to CBS All Access just because of Survivor. Thank you very much, Jeff Probst.
Wow.
Yeah,
Jeff Probst is kind of great though. I mean,
yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
That's the best job in the world.
I mean, no, that probably is the best job in the world. But.
Yeah.
What are you guys watching?
Yeah.
Well, I just trying to think, like, have I ever actually seen Survivor, though?
You probably did, and you don't remember.
Probably. I don't know. I've never been to reality TV.
Do you remember when they did every tribe by race, and then, like, people were like, hey, that's kind of fucked up?
Oh, what? Dude, I think they did.
No way.
They did it.
Are you serious?
In 2006. Look it up.
Every tribe by race?
So it's like
one of the newer seasons, they had brains versus brawn versus beauty.
Versus like ugly people.
Pretty much. Brains got trampled.
Survivor Cook Islands divided into 4 tribes by ethnicity.
Cook Islands was like that?
Yeah, African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, and European American.
Whoa, that's the next season I'm watching.
Isn't that a Community joke?
Probably, yeah.
With Betty White?
That's like a parody.
Like, whoa, there was a mutiny offer. Whoa,
you want my CBS All Access password? I'll give it to you, dude. Please.
I'm gonna watch Survivor season racist.
Well, Gene, that's a perfect transition to you because you mentioned that. Not racism. I'm just saying because that was a funny joke and you're here now and I need to get to what you're watching recently.
Oh, yeah. Well,
also, Gene's not racist.
I'm not, no. I was going to say thanks for the mask, guys.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Nice. If you're watching on camera.
Let me know if you want a pin.
I think, you sent me a magnet. Yeah, you can send me a pin.
Yeah, we'll get you some pins. We got a whole box of them. Mm-hmm. But sorry.
No, I just want to say thanks. But yeah, in terms of watching, what I've been watching, The Iron Mask was a Chinese-produced movie with Jackie Chan and Arnold
Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, it's so fucking dumb, but it's also stupidly entertaining. So if you want to see like Arnold fight Jackie Chan and they just like stalemate, and Arnold's like a prison guard and prison warden, and he just in order to get out of his prison, they have to bare knuckle box him, and if they win, they get a scot-free. And yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, it's definitely like a blockbuster movie that didn't get this year. So I really recommend Iron Mask.
It's like a Chinese produced movie, right?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's with
there's like a whole like economy based on that because like a bunch of like washed up American action filmmakers went over there to shoot movies. Like Rennie Harlan, who was like huge in the 80s and 90s. I saw his movie he did with Jackie Chan and the Jackass dude, and it's like fine, but like he's just there to make movies like that now. And I guess he did like some fantasy medieval sandal sword epic.
Jackie Chan?
No, Rennie Harlan. And like
yeah.
no one's seen it, but I found it on YouTube and I saved it. Allegedly.
It's like the scene in Lost in Translation where they're just making the commercials in other countries.
Kinda, yeah.
Steve
I don't know.
Do the same thing where he went to another country and became like a
sure.
big.
Oh, he went to Russia, but that's because he's like a terrible monster.
Yeah, he's probably a double agent or something. But
he's there's a lot going on there that quite frankly we do not have time to get into.
Yeah.
What we do have time to get into is what else you've been watching, Gene.
Yeah. Peninsula, the sequel to Train to Busan. Really good.
You brought that up last time.
Oh, I did. Yeah, there's a sequel. It's on Redbox.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. That's cool. Great movie, Train to Busan.
Yeah, no, it's great. The Mystery of D.B. Cooper, HBO Max documentary. It's interesting because I guess Loki is D.B. Cooper in the Disney Plus show, but they didn't get into that. And a movie I really wanted to stress is really good is Tesla, which has a scene with it's really good with Ethan Hawke as Tesla, Nikola Tesla, and it's just there's a scene where he karaoke styles sings Everybody Wants to Rule the World as Tesla, and it's just a really fun movie. It has like Jim Gaffigan, Kyle MacLachlan as like Thomas Edison, and it plays like really loosely with like the historical thing. Like it's not stuffy like some biopics in that era. It's like really like they break the fourth wall and they pull out like an iPhone in certain scenes, and it's just really like it's really interesting, and it's really makes very interesting choices. So I have to recommend that.
So Ethan Hawke is Tesla?
Yeah, he's Tesla.
So versus Ethan Hawke or David Bowie as Tesla?
Oh, I mean,
don't do that. Don't do that.
I mean, like
we don't pit kings against kings here.
Right? Yeah. I mean, they're good in their own ways, but I don't know. I mean, Bowie's like pretty iconic, so I couldn't really choose against him. But yeah, I mean, Ethan Hawke does some really interesting stuff.
That's cool. I'm check it out.
Yeah, you guys should. I recommended it a couple months back. I'm really glad you watched it eventually, Gene. I'm not really watching a lot of movies right now. I have like my list set up that I'm going to go through starting tonight with Tenet. After this episode recording, I will be watching finally because everyone has such hot takes about that movie, positive or negative.
I have hot takes about that movie.
I just want to feel something again. Yeah. So that's why I'm going to watch it. I know Gene didn't like it, and I know a lot of other people didn't like it.
Which one did I
Tenet.
Like? Oh, no, I kind of didn't like Tenet. I'm kind of like, I mean, I'll see it again, but I just, I think, I'm just kind of perplexed on that movie at this point.
I drove 2.5 hours away to watch that movie.
Oh, did you see it in San Diego?
In San Diego.
Oh yeah,
and
same.
It was horrible.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say it's like horrible. Like I would just say like I'm just like what is? I'm trying to figure out like what the fuck is this movie, because it's like. It's like it comes out during a pandemic. It makes no sense. There's a Travis Scott song, you know. I mean, like what is this?
Christopher Nolan has like this pompous like persona that people put on him, but he's been very open about like, no, I like Michael Bay movies, and I he likes dumb action stuff. He's always wanted to make just dumb action movies, but he's like a little too smart to just be Michael Bay. So he's like, oh, I'm going to make it about like the relevance to time and like perspectives. And aren't we all wearing masks? And he does that for 3 movies in a row. And I eat that shit up. But what I've really been watching recently is Steven Universe. I finally got back into Steven Universe. This is my life now. I tell people I'm watching animated children's television.
Dude,
it's between that and She-Ra.
Steven Universe is anti-racist, so.
Yeah, Steven Universe is really fucking good. It's like if Kingdom Hearts was a television show.
I love Steven Universe.
Don't say things like that, because now I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, dude, you should.
It's so good.
Yeah,
it's so good.
I met Rebecca Sugar.
And She-Ra.
Oh, did you?
Oh, Rebecca Sugar rules. But like between that and She-Ra, I'm like, I don't need movies this year. Like I just need shows that start off with the love and power of friendship can solve anything. So they head into their last season with the thesis that we need to kill and overthrow God. That's what those shows are. And it's incredible. But yeah, that's not what we're here to talk about today. The real topic we're here to talk about today is the biggest mainstream cyberpunk hit since the original Blade Runner. And it's not the one where you're still waiting for your refund. We're here to talk about Tron Legacy. Right around the table, Gene and I have not been secretive about how we feel about Tron Legacy over many, many years. We'll talk about like most underrated films. I think even on the Masks episode we did this year, people said the best movie masks were from Tron Legacy. Yeah. So we know where the audience stands on this. But Trammin boys, how do you feel about Tron Legacy?
Well, first I want to say you're not the first person to say Trammin boys, and I'm like, is that a thing?
Yeah,
it's gonna be. I think
it is.
So, so today we're Tronin, and I rewatched Tron Legacy yesterday, and I decided it is my favorite movie.
Just flat out favorite.
Flat out. Nice. It was Rogue One maybe before. Now it's Tron Legacy. I was building the Legos on the back of this set on video, and these are like 35-minute Legos, and it took me like 2 hours because I watched the whole movie. I was like, I couldn't look away. And then today I listened to the soundtrack again at work.
That's it.
Love it.
That's it.
Love it. It's my favorite. And what about you?
It is not my favorite movie.
I'm sure it's not.
I have a lot. Like Lord of the Rings, Diego. Shout out to when we went to go watch all 3 in a row.
Extended editions. Right before the
How much did it
out.
Smell in there?
It wasn't too bad.
Seeing a Marvel marathon, they would smell, but I don't know. Like
Lord of the Rings nerds, we don't like going to theaters. We can watch them from the comfort of our own home. Like,
yeah, dude.
It was just like the one time because. Oh yeah. Well, like it was just fun to do that because it was like it's lead up to The Hobbit, and then we just did that for an entire day, and then we like left before Return of the King was over because sitting for 13 hours in the theater is fucking insane.
What did you do right now, Rain?
What do you mean?
He asked you, how do you feel about Tron Legacy?
No, this just happens all the time. It's not him.
I know,
dude. I am the tangent master on Trammin, dude. Mm-hmm. We have a topic, and I purposely change the topic every single time.
I was re-listening to the most recent episode. I'm like, how did
we even get here?
We talked about the sadness and loneliness of Christmas. I'm like, Rain, how did you get me here?
Tron Legacy. Yeah. Great movie, dude. Like, flat out, amazing movie. Little cheesy at times, in my opinion. But it's 2020, and it's still one of the best looking movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So
I think he doesn't like the face. Right. But I think besides that, even though I like the face when he's in the grid because he's supposed to be creepy and fake, the effects and everything completely hold up.
Yeah.
Like the way 2010 CG, and again, it was like 09 CG because it took them like a year and a half of post-production.
Yeah.
Was that the first time Disney tried to redo somebody's face? Because they've done it a lot.
I think that was like the first big movie they did that. Like Sopranos kind of did that, right, Gene? Where they with the mom character.
The mom? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So we all know like that like is bad.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Sopranos is like a perfect show, but like, but like no, I think this was the first like big motion picture that was like, let's reconstruct a human being's like face.
Yeah.
And see what we can do with that.
Not bad.
But if you compare that to like even Tarkin looked great.
Light years. There were light years.
Yeah. What was the most recent one they did? They did one really.
I guess Rise of Skywalker is the most recent one I could think of.
And then was it Irishman that did that?
Yeah,
Irishman did that. Yeah,
but it was mild or something.
It wasn't. Yeah,
they made it look 10 years.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Tron Legacy. Great movie.
Have you guys seen the original? Because I actually know a lot of people haven't seen the original still, but there's
they must be
a huge cult fan base for Tron Legacy now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've seen the original. It's not that great. it's not. I understand why it's significant, but not that great. It does not hold up. That's for sure, right?
Yeah. I've started the original a few times and I've never been able to get through it.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll fall asleep or something will happen. I don't know. But I've tried.
It's a little dull for me too. And Gene, I want to hear your thoughts on it. But I like it as a vibes movie. I just kind of have it on and it's like hell yeah. Whereas Tron Legacy, like I love is like a movie I could totally tune into for like 2 hours or whatever. But also like it's the perfect movie to have on in the background, like at a like a friendly gathering or a party. Remember parties? Remember friendly gatherings?
I remember those.
Good riddance.
Yeah.
Good
No, I'm so alone. But Gene, you like Tron a lot.
Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think it's one of the perfect like time capsules of the 80s. And I mean, for its time, I think like, because I think I talked to Kirk about this. I love all the weird 80s Disney films. So,
you Black Cauldron, right?
Like the Black Cauldron.
I love Black Cauldron.
Yeah, Black Cauldron's great. Like, whoever doesn't cry when Gurgi kills himself, like they're heartless.
Whoa, spoilers. No, it's my fault for not seeing it yet. That's fine.
I used to collect Horn King pins.
That's a terrifying villain.
Yeah.
Terrifying. But yeah, like all the weird 80s movies, so like Black Cauldron, Tron, the Black Hole, I think are really the Black Hole's great. They're really underrated and they're just so unique in its time. Like, could you imagine, like, they take more risks than Disney does now. Like, this is the most risk-taking they did in like 40 years. Could you imagine? Bob Iger would never like redo the Black Hole or something. You wouldn't take that risk.
I don't ever say never. They're redoing everything.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like, they're redoing everything. If they're going to do that ever, it would be right now, because that's kind of like their whole
maybe it would be on Disney Plus. But no, I think for Tron, it's just such a like in a bubble. Like it's a good movie to remind you of that period, and just all the little nods. Like there's like Journey is playing in it, which they call back to in Legacy.
Love that song.
Like the soundtrack is just like really like it's like a video game. I mean, did anyone ever play the arcade Tron? I know it's hard to find.
No,
I've played it.
I think I played it once at Disneyland.
Yeah, Disneyland, they probably had promotions for it for the Tron events or whatever. Or some arcades still carry it, and it's like, I think like Tron is such a good like video game movie in terms of like 80s video games, where it's just so like there's a final boss and there's assist characters. Yeah, I think it really works just keeping like it's basically a video game. You have to keep that mindset, and it's like this is how people viewed video games at the time. So,
and it came out 2 years before James Cameron's Aliens, which got all the credit for being this is how they made video games.
There's a VR game called Battlezone VR where you're in a wireframe tank shooting at other wireframe tanks, which is like
they just copy Tron.
Yeah,
Tron.
But it's in VR. So
Battlezone VR.
I have it. I think. Anyways,
I mean, to talk about like VR and like new technology and stuff like that, I personally think everyone said 3D was like the future of movies, and then like that tanked after this and The Last Airbender. I'm not comparing the quality. I'm just saying like 3D clearly didn't take off after Avatar like everyone wanted to.
Right.
I think VR movies would be cool, like to like really impress with the 3D, right? I'm not saying like you need to turn and see like different corners of the movie, because that would be like
impossible,
the most insanely expensive endeavor ever, and just too much for someone to do. But like to experience a movie like that to be completely blacked out like that, I think that'd be kind of cool. But
you can do that on VR headsets. There's a theater mode where the screen, quote unquote, stays stationary even when your head moves. So it's as if you're looking at like a big screen.
You can do that with YouTube.
Yeah, you can do it on PlayStation and all that stuff.
I like that. I should get one of those. How much do they cost, Kirk?
Do you have a Facebook account?
Yeah, but I don't use it.
I know.
Get an Oculus.
Yeah, there's Oculus Quest. Is it $300 for the new one?
$300 for the two, and you can find it anywhere. You can find it at Target.
Apparently, it is spectacular, Diego. There's no wires. You just put it on your head, and it has controllers.
I have a Quest 1. Amazing.
You need a Facebook account to log in.
That's ridiculous. I hate this. Fucking
Mark that's why I don't have one. Yeah.
Don't
get zucked, man.
Track more data.
All right, but back to Tron Legacy. Did we all see it in theaters together? Like, I went with the group, but I don't remember if it was all of us.
We went together.
Okay, it was me, you, Ryan Verduzco.
Yeah.
Were you with us, Diego?
I was with Nunez that night.
No.
We went to Downtown Disney.
Yeah. So
that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
we had
like
our groups and we couldn't. Yeah.
So we was it your fault we didn't see it in 3D or Ryan's fault?
Somebody's fault. I'm not taking the blame.
we all bought tickets, and one of them was like, I'll buy my ticket when I'm there.
Oh no, that's not me.
And then they were like, we're out of 3D, so you all have to convert to 2D. And then I didn't see it in 3D until like 3 years ago on my VR headset, which like looks like trash because the VR headset is trash. But yeah, we saw it.
You were just hyping it up a second ago.
No,
That's
mine,
PSVR.
mine. I have the PSVR.
Okay.
The one I recommended has an amazing screen. No, so we saw it downtown Disney, December 17th at AMC. The day it came out, and then Ryan like slept over my house, and we skipped the last day of school before Christmas break.
Yeah, nothing happened on that day.
Apparently, my name was said out loud in the gym because I helped on some project, and I wasn't there to accept my little certificate.
I wonder if I went to school. I don't remember that. Wow.
Does anyone really go to school the last year of high school?
Yeah. I mean, that's how you graduate.
No, but I mean, like, okay, like that, but like, do you really like physically, mentally attend, or are you just like kind of physically there?
I got awards
for attendance.
No, I got a physics award, and check this out. I got a social justice award.
Social justice warrior.
I'm gonna flex that on Twitter with my little pin. That's right.
Have like some alt-right YouTube go after you or something.
Woke award, you know. All right.
You're gonna get called a cuck or something like that. It's just
like
the Wild West out there now.
Yeah. It was for the class social justice. It was a religion class. No one would have ever believed I got an award for religion class. But here we are.
Speaking of where we are, you have a lot of fancy lights in the background behind you, Kirk.
Yeah,
they're beautiful. They're lovely. Some of the criticisms about Tron Legacy are that it is just kind of a fancy light show, a special effect extravaganza, but it's hollow. I've even seen it referred to as a cold film. Help me elaborate, everyone on the panel, why those claims are nonsense.
Okay, so first of all, everything with Flynn.
Kevin Flynn.
Yeah. His passion is really important, and like you hear him say things that are very, I think some of the criticisms are like how obvious everything is. Like he literally said, and I created Clue in my own image, which is like what they say God did with us, right? Mm-hmm. But it's like he's talking like he's a creator without a God complex. So there's like this, like he cares about his creation. You know what I mean? Like all the good things you would hear about a God is like what Kevin Flynn is supposed to be. And he wants the best for humanity and his whole giving things away for free. And it's like, I know we're talking about him, but he's a real important part of that. And I just think like, you know, we got Cora's like fascination with the outside world and all that. Like you have these like little endearing moments, even if they're presented a little bit cheesy, but it's like, it's a Disney movie, you know. You can get a little deep without getting deep. And then you just have like all these moments that are like, you know, this is like a little bit profound or whatever. And like just these cool lines that like they based this new Flynn off of Jeff Bridges too. Like, what does he say? I'm going to go knock on the sky and listen for the sound. Like, you know, like
he's like a mixture of like Jeff Bridges from the original Tron and the dude.
Yeah. Just the dude, basically.
Yeah.
I don't know how to like argue about like the hollowness, but it doesn't. Why would they think that? Like, I don't know. I don't see that at all.
Yeah.
I think are people mad that it looks that good? You know what I mean? Like it's not allowed to be good because it doesn't look like a grungy indie film.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, anyways, a big part of this, like of my. I never disliked the film. I always liked it, but I've really come to love it. Like this last decade of movies, especially. Not that it was a bad decade, but the bigger movies, the movies that cost as much as Tron Legacy and don't look like half as good as Tron Legacy. You know, it really goes to show like just the passion that went into this. This is the first time director. I think he directed like music videos before that. And it's just like.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he just did. He was an architect too.
So
it totally shows, right? Like everything feels like so precisely designed and like contextualized, and how they don't like follow all the way through with it, but like in the real world it's like anamorphic widescreen, and then in the grid when you first show up there it's like the IMAX, you know?
Yeah, and so two things. One, I think filming ended June 2008.
Wow.
And then
Good
they did
Lord.
post-production till release. But
Wow.
there were a lot of practical sets. The End of Line Club was a practical set. Even like the Solar Sailor that they're on, and when they go down into like where they see the rows of people.
That was practical?
That was not the top, but
where they were actually standing.
When they're in between like the glass or whatever. I saw a production still today, and I was like, oh, that was they built that too. Like,
wow.
And so we talked about this on our show. How I watched Black Panther, and I was kind of like iffy on it. And what made me feel like this Marvel staleness was, there's a fly in here. It's like Marvel spends their budget for special effects like at the beginning and the end, but then like at certain points it's just like something's missing here. Like the lighting is off, or it doesn't look like there's depth to it. And I guess in a way, like there was the practical stuff in Tron was practical, and then anything else did not exist at all. So it's like you can't
compare it to something real.
Well, I mean, like you couldn't skimp on it. You know what I mean? Like this is the whole movie, but that was also their point too, right? Disney was flexing. Like
they were
kind of, yeah.
The whole point was look at this technical marvel, and when you're doing that, you don't really be like, you know what, lower the budget a little bit. We don't want to light this scene well or something like.
Well, like a big thing, not to get into a whole Marvel thing, because Gene and I have definitely talked people's ears off about that.
Sure.
Check out the Comic-Con panel we did about the last time we ever talked about superheroes in public. I think a part of the problem with the Marvel like lighting and cinematography stuff like that is that so often they make their movies in post-production. Like the way they line up the schedules and the budgets, they allot a lot of time to figure out like, well, people might like it this way more, until they'll change it up until the last minute of like until release, right? And so when you're putting that work on VFX artists and you don't have like a game plan, it does tend to look crummy. Like everyone made fun of Justice League because of the Superman lip thing. Yeah, and it's like, well, that was like a last minute thing because Henry Cavill was shooting a Mission Impossible movie and they couldn't shave off his mustache, which is like its own crazy, ridiculous thing. But like that's why it doesn't look good, because they don't have time for these, like, to plan these things out. And Tron Legacy, the mere fact that he was a music video director and an architect, I mean, that guy had to come in with a game plan. His first movie, $200 million, whatever.
Yeah.
And
well, I was gonna say, if you look at they kind of did this. I wouldn't say it's a short film, but it's like a reel, like a teaser reel of Tron Legacy that they showed at Comic-Con, I think at 2008.
That's right.
That's like got it all hyped, where it's like a scene of Clue chasing down like one of the Resistance, and like
oh yeah, it never made it in.
Yeah, well, it's just like a proof of concept, really. But yeah, I mean, if you look at that, like the visuals in that, even like before they started filming, were pretty extraordinary. Like Joseph Kosinski, can anyone pronounce?
It's just Kosinski, I think. Yeah,
Kosinski. Yeah.
He really had such an eye for the visuals and the imagery of Tron, for sure.
One thing I really want to point out is the use of symmetry in that movie, like the rule of thirds, just having things look like where they're supposed to be was phenomenal. Yeah. Like just shots of I think there's a shot where it's Clue and all of his guys behind him.
Yeah, they're always lined up perfectly,
which
is the point. Like they're computer programs, and
they're perfect.
Yeah,
and if you're not perfect, you get de-res.
So
thing, right?
So I learned that the apparently Sam had a friend and they digitally removed him. However, when
he's breaking into Encom, there's supposed to be a friend with him, but they took him out.
Yeah. Wow. Besides that, though, as far as I know, there are no deleted scenes.
No, yeah.
You got the 5-pack DVD or Blu-ray.
Yeah. Apparently, there's an epilogue, dude. I watched some of it yesterday. It's called Flynn Lives, and it takes place after the movie. And
that's the short film they did.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it. I saw it for the first time yesterday, but there are no deleted scenes. What you're saying, Diego, like they planned it,
they did,
and they executed it.
Yeah. I feel bad for that actor.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they cut his scenes; they digitally erased him from the shots. I would say there's kind of deleted scenes, like that's why that's so choppy. Like Sam's just, Like just he's kind of talking just to himself, but he was talking to someone.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like the Disney protagonist thing, which is like maybe the one traditional Disney trait I'll give to this movie, because it does not feel like a Disney adventure film. You know, it feels like its own like thing. It feels like its own entity, where it's like it's not related to anything that Disney would have its name attached to. You know, and I'm really glad you brought up like the God stuff, Kirk, because all like the religious stuff, like the rules of like law and order and like ones and zeros and like algorithms versus like free will and identity and shit like that. Like, I don't know. To me, it's like it's very like obviously stated, like you said, but maybe not obviously enough if people are not like getting it.
Right? Two of the
What was
Lost
that?
writers. Two of the writers from Lost or Once Upon a Time or something worked on it.
I recognize their names, so yeah, I think so.
From
So
Lost.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the when Flynn was talking about the ISOs, he like what's his face? Sam was like, "Oh, you made her, right?" And he's like, "No, she's an ISO," and he was explaining the ISOs, and he's like, "They just manifested, like they just came
out
to
of
be,"
nothing. Yeah.
which is, you know, all this. It's funny that like all this is very simplistic, right? Like you don't have to think very hard for him. Like, you know, I made him in my image, and like perfection is unknowable and all that kind of stuff. But it's also just like, because it's presented through like this digital frontier, you know, like it's inside of a computer, it's cool because it's applied in a way we just never thought would be. Like an organic being with DNA created inside of a computer system. Like, it really makes absolutely no sense, but it also really doesn't have to, because it is kind of a fantasy film. You know what I mean? Like,
Like, I mean, the first Tron, it's like, it's just straight up, what are computers like in that era, right?
and it was like
then
that
now we know
specific
it's not.
computer. Yeah.
And now we know, like, it's not that, but no reason to try to fix that. You know, it's like Jurassic Park with the dinosaur feathers. It's like, you could add them now, but it's not the type of franchise where it's like, oh, we'll just go back and change that, you know?
Yeah.
And really quick, the writers on this, for the screenplay, I want to shout them out. Edward Kitsis and Adam Horowitz are the screenwriters on this. And yes, they both did write for Once Upon a Time and Lost.
Yeah. ABC, Disney, you know?
Yeah, they just picked them up from there.
Yeah, I was gonna say the ISOs are like the island. They don't really explain the exact explanation. It's just there. Take it.
Yeah, they don't need an explanation because they're representing something for like the characters in the story that we're watching now. It's like you could kind of you could ask questions about like, where did they come from? But it's like that's not what the story's like about, you know. It's not like it's not something that's gonna have like a Bible from like its very like existence. It doesn't matter. We're just watching this one story in this universe about this one concept, which leads to all these other concepts. We don't need like a plot by plot, like moment to moment breakdown of how the universe came to be, you know?
There was something I noticed, which it's like very obvious again, but subtle in the like relatively subtle. Sam, his lights aren't blue. They're a blue tinted white. And you notice it more when what are they doing in the light cycle race? All his little buds, teammates, are blue, and his trail is like, it's white, and you know, he's son of the creator and stuff like that. Like, there was what do they say in the end of Line Club when
Son of Flynn?
No, Flynn walks in. Oh, right.
Like a total boss.
No, when he walks, I think when he walks in, yeah, like people like bow down to him because they know he's and then
he's a deity. He's like,
and then didn't they say at some point, someone said like, time to meet your maker or something like that, and it's like Flynn is
Flynn is the maker.
And that's why like when in the arena or like the game grid or whatever, when they're like, user, identify yourself, and he's like, I'm not a user, or no, the program, identify yourself, I'm not a program, my name is Sam Flynn, and just like quiet, like they know but they don't talk about him, you know what I mean? But everyone knows Flynn is the creator and all that. So yeah, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean this movie has so much going on than more people give it credit for, like creation, and then too like all the father and son stuff with like Sam and Kevin Flynn is, I think, really neat and like profound. Like it's it's just a boy trying to find his dad. Like I wouldn't call that movie heartless.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm noticing this a big trend in American fiction. Honestly, there's a problem with American fathers in history, I think, because so much of it is like, how do you like reconcile with your like Darth Vader? It's kind of like a Darth Vader thing. Flynn is not an evil person, and you're right, Kirk. He's like he's a true like good human being, and he does want to do best for like he's discovered this whole other universe, and he has to like take care of it. But that's also separated him from his in real life creation, his son, and so it's like, even though he is all good and doing good, he's still doing like an inherently flawed thing by leaving his son for extended periods of time, and then ultimately it's not his choice to be cut off from his son, but the story is ultimately about like him getting so wrapped up in his work that he did like it caused him to be separated from his son.
Yeah, I love the line.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead, Gene.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, that's like the line at the end where he says, like, who's telling him he wanted to he was tasked with taking the grid to perfection, and that's why he's telling him, like, that's the thing I didn't know at the time, is like perfection's like unknowable, like it's always changing, so like there's really no such thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that scene, it was like, I've seen it when you watch it enough times, I guess you don't like the cheesiness doesn't affect you anymore, so you actually get to see the heart in it. That's what I felt yesterday, because I'm like, I know this line is cheesy, however it feels more emotional to me when Clue is kind of he's like bargaining with Flynn, where he's like, I created the perfect system just like you asked. Like he's trying to get approval of his creator or his father, and like it's like that parallel there. And I was like, wow, I never really saw it that way, where Clue is like, aren't you proud of me? Like I did exactly what you asked. And Flynn was like, you did. Like you did everything I asked. But the problem with perfection is it's unknowable. And what you're saying about him being absent, I like when Sam in the beginning, like, what do you think I'm gonna do, Alan? I'm gonna walk into his office and he's just gonna be in there and, hey kiddo, lost track of time. Like, it is sad. And he wanted to get out and save the world too. It wasn't even like he was, he's like, he tosses the coin at his son and he's like, we're gonna play a game of Space Paranoids or Tron or whatever it is. And like he was trying. He just like, he ended up being a bad dad, but he wasn't
not by his fault.
Yeah. Well, I was
kind of
gonna
what
say,
Diego said though. It kind of was his fault, right?
Yeah.
Like it's not like he made decisions that harmed his relationship with his son directly, but he did spend enough time away. Like, even though he's like, oh yeah, we'll play later, like I get the perception that that's not the first time he's kind of told him that, like, even though he's a clearly loving dad and he's there for him,
right,
he ended up not being there enough, and he let that kind of happen almost. He didn't mean to create like evil.
Yeah, he's also
but
like income too.
Mm-hmm.
At the time.
Yeah, like it's a metaphor. It's not 100% literal, but the metaphor of the story is that like it's a simple story of a parent getting wrapped up in their work and not being able to be there for their child.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was gonna say if it, because I hate to be like one of those people with the tie-in books, but I have my background, the Tron Ascension graphic novel, and that goes into like more in depth of it's just like, how Kevin Flynn is just not a absentee father by choice. It's like he's running NCOM, going into the grid, and then like his wife dies, which I guess that's implied. The mom was never there, so it's kind of you get more appreciation reading the graphic novel for all of that.
Did any of you guys watch the TV show, the XD
I did.
show?
I watched some of it.
Tron Uprising.
Yeah, how was it?
I really liked it. Yeah, like I really appreciated that one because it sheds more light on Tron, the character itself, who's Bruce Damn it.
Boxlighter?
Boxlighter, yeah.
Boxlightner.
Leitner?
Yeah.
Boxlight.
Whoops.
It's tough. I can't say it quickly.
Yeah, it's hard to say his last name. But yeah, he comes back as to voice Tron, and like Elijah Wood's voicing like a Tron apprentice, and yeah, it's really interesting. It was it's from the same people that did Star Wars Resistance. The same
Oh, that show.
So like it sucks.
I don't want to say anything.
That show, yeah. Well, yeah, I love their animation, like the anime. I haven't seen Resistance, but I love how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a show for young children. I'm not going to be harsh on it. It's just
I haven't
not
seen
for
it.
me.
But yeah, Uprising, yeah, it looks beautiful. The way they animate it. So yeah, I would go to bat for Tron or Uprising, which canceled after a season. on Disney.
Can we talk about weird Tron stuff for a second?
Sure.
Absolutely.
I've got back here. It's what is it called?
Tron Evolution.
Tron Evolution, this trash PS3 game.
Oh.
Where it's just like this side plot. It's got nothing to do with anything, but you hang out on the grid.
And it's 3D compatible.
Oh dear. Oh wait, no.
Yeah, I heard that game's terrible. You should have got like Epic Mickey or something.
Yeah, I tried playing it. I got through some of it. It's on PS3 only. Although I'm gonna check if it's on PlayStation Now. I'm gonna get PlayStation Now.
There was I think an Xbox PS2 game. It's called Tron 2.0. It's not canon.
Yeah, I remember that.
Actually, it's like a kind of a enjoyable game. It's not unplayable like Tron, that other Tron game was.
And then obviously it's in Kingdom Hearts 2 as Space Paranoids is the world. It's the original Tron. And then in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance, the world gets upgraded and it's the Tron Legacy world. Yeah. However, with video games, because you can't really do black reflective stuff, you can now with ray tracing, but games used to like not be that great. Everything was kind of blue.
Yeah.
Like just teal. And it was bad. But there's one.
And it was kind of boring too.
Yeah, because now you want to get real weird. You guys remember Temple Run?
Yeah.
Yes.
Slightly.
There's a Tron game on PS4 called Tron Run R, and I have it. It's actually pretty cool. It's not an endless runner. It's got levels, and you jump. It's run/R. It's like $10-$20. It's fun, but super weird.
I never played it, but yeah.
And you get it now. I was playing it on my PS5 the other day.
All right.
Wow. Tron 2.0 is a first-person shooter?
Yeah, it's like a shooter. You play as the son of Alan Bradley.
Wow.
Yeah, it came out like 2003 or something. I heard it's good, but
that box art though. See this?
What's that?
Oh, that's cool.
If the game is like, in the light cycles and the light jets and stuff like that, then that's kind of cool. But like, first person shooter's not what I think of with Tron.
Yeah. So Tron Evolution lets you drive a light cycle, but you use the move controllers.
Oh.
And you like hold them like this, and like you do.
Is that required?
I'm not sure. No, it's not. But it's I played it at RJ's house because we both had PlayStation moves. It's just bonkers. Like it's ridiculous. But that's as far as I get for weird.
I have a weird.
Yeah,
thing.
it's interesting. All the merchandising and stuff for the Tron franchise is it's either like it's like some of it, because we were talking about this earlier, is like so hard to find now. Like they did a lot of merchandising. Like I remember the Frisbee disc, but like I was telling Kirk I want the art of book of Tron because I love all the concept art. But it's like 150. It's hard.
Have you guys watched Prop Culture on Disney Plus?
No. I haven't seen it.
Check out Prop Culture. There's a Tron episode.
Why didn't you tell me?
Oh,
this?
okay.
I never told you this?
No.
And they literally bring the original. Check it out. The original helmets and everything from the original Tron. Dude, like, and what's a Lightyear? What's his name?
Huh?
Lightyear?
That guy. He's gets interviewed.
Yeah, he's. I mean, he's super into it. He said he's done now because he got tired of being yanked around by Disney.
Yeah.
But when Tron 3 rumors were going on, he's like, they asked me and I was down. Like, I'm ready to go.
Well, I still want to talk about a little bit more about the movie, specifically the ending, which for me, if a movie nails the ending, that tends to be my favorite part. So the same thing here. But a little bit about Tron 3. I think we all know now. That was ready to go. Ready to shoot up in Vancouver. Everyone was ready. Disney pulled the plug at the last minute, and that's it. No more Tron. I feel like they could make one. I don't think they should make one with Jared Leto, which would be ridiculous, and I don't think they would ever do something so stupid or reckless. But if they did, that would probably kill all interest in the franchise. I think
the Jared Leto movie is canceled.
No, they were going to make a direct sequel to Tron Legacy.
Oh, it was in 2010. They were going to film it.
It was
really?
called,
and Disney's like never.
It was in 2015.
They were going to do it after Tron Legacy came out. It didn't make Avatar money, so Disney got cold feet because this was kind of supposed to be their Avatar. And then eventually, like 2015, 2016 or something like that, gears started turning again. They're like, let's fucking do this, Let's get on that Star Wars level money. And then I guess the budget was too high, and people got cold feet again. And then Star Wars made more money than God, and they're like, why do we need Tron? And so they pulled the plug on this shit again.
Yeah, that really sucked because it was so close. It was like mythical.
I know.
What was the title called? It was like Tron
Ascension, I think.
Ascension, that sounded so cool.
Yeah. Well, it would have been about like the digital world invading the human world, and that's like a continuation of the theme, obviously, yada yada. It could have been awesome.
Yeah. So I've got 3 things to say about that. 1, Jared Leto, maybe he'll get canceled before the movie starts.
Chances are he will.
Option 2, Jared Leto's cult has a Jonestown type situation, and then he's gone, and we don't have to deal with him.
Yeah,
we could do that. Number 3, we now have the volume, the screen thing from The Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
You could film Tron in the volume.
Save a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So
give it to Jon Favreau.
Oh, don't hurt me. No, he could do it though.
He could do it. I want Joseph Kosinski to come back.
Yeah. So here's how I see this. Let Jon Favreau just produce it, because he would just go to Kosinski and let him do what he wants. You know what I mean? Like he would. I don't want to get. It's that the hands off Jon Favreau where he's like, yeah, I believe in this. This is what we should do, and he just has the other people do it. Not like Jon Favreau sits there and writes it and directs it. None of that. Just, like it's almost like he
just lets him borrow the volume.
You know what? It's was it
Jungle Book?
No. Was it Eisner? Okay, so Michael Eisner had a good moment.
Did he?
Where he apparently, I think this was an Imagineering story or something else. When he showed up at Imagineering on his first day, they were all like, oh no, he's going to get rid of us. He's going to cut us. And he showed up at Imagineering and he goes, you are the most important thing about this company. Like he recognized the talent and he was like, as much money as you want. And then he messed everything up later.
Mm-hmm.
But, like come in and recognize it. Now, you seen the ending, Diego.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite line from the ending is the flip side of a line from a flashback in the beginning, is when Clue is giving a speech. When he's just like, yelling, he goes, out there is our future. Out there is our destiny. Because Kevin Flynn was saying, in there is our future. In there is our destiny. And so now I talk about pacing a lot in movies, because sometimes it's just
all over the place.
Nothing's going on, and then everything's going on, but in the last 15 minutes, and then it's just like we have a little happy scene at the end. I really like the pacing of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
I only had one problem, and it wasn't really a problem. What's Clue trying to do? Does he have a plan that they didn't tell us, or is he just like delusional perfect system guy?
Well, he's a fascist. Everyone forgets that.
Yes, I get the fascist implication. Right. It's like it's the stormtrooper lineup from Star Wars. It's verbatim.
But he was trying to like lure Sam in to kind of eliminate Kevin Flynn, because him and Kevin are just kind of in this long chess match where neither side is like winning or whatever.
But he wanted to get out, right?
Yeah, he wanted to get out because he wants Kevin's identity disc. So the whole time he's just trying to get Kevin Flynn's identity disc.
Yeah,
that's his end goal.
Well, but that ship was supposed to go through the portal. My question, because I know like what he was doing. Did he want, like, do you guys think he wanted to rule the world, or was he just furthering his goal of creating the perfect system? Because he also said like, no longer will we be trapped.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
he's trying to like one up Kevin Flynn. He's trying to like out, his creator wanted him to stick into this program, but he's like telling him like, no, I'm gonna like go out there and like all these things that you're keeping from me, I'm gonna like take this from you.
You think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of interesting, intentionally or otherwise. I think the point of that, like his plan is to escape, but because he's a program and he's too rigid, not like Tron. Tron had that personality, right? Tron has like an identity that was taken from him. We barely even talked about Tron and Tron Legacy, but like Clue wants to implement his like ones and zero approach to the rest of the world and like to continue, because like a personality like that, they always want to have more and more power, right? And it'll never be enough. And then it'll always be like, what it comes down to is that he just wants his dad to be proud of him. He just wishes his dad hugged him. And unfortunately in the real world, we're discovering that many authoritarian figures, that's kind of what it comes down to also. There's no tragic backstory. There's no intellectual like curiosity there. It's just like, well, my dad didn't hug me enough. Maybe if I control the world, that will be enough to gain their approval.
So basically that's it.
Yeah, that was my new takeaway from this movie, was the whole Clue wanting Flynn to be proud.
Do you think he wanted to be like, it kind of reminds a little bit of Pinocchio?
What? Oh, like I want to be a real boy?
Yeah.
I could totally see that.
In a way,
yeah. Where like a Westworld, I don't know if you saw Westworld. Just like he goes from like being a computer program to being a real person, and because of that, he has more meaning in his own life. He doesn't need Kevin anymore. He doesn't need Flynn anymore.
Yeah, because he did say like, I mean, one of you said it now, like he has this. It's like he thinks Flynn is being malicious towards them by keeping them inside the computer. Like he's not letting us see all. That's what he was saying in his speech. It's like he's not letting us see all the like this huge world out there. And they show the map of Earth where it's like now finally we'll be free. Like it's, I guess, he had a task, create the perfect system, but it was never like do what you want. It was you need to do the thing I told you to do. So yeah, there's that angle there. And I
think that's okay. Go ahead.
No, that was it. Sorry.
Well, I just think it's interesting because, like, I mean, this is a much broader subject because actual artificial intelligence, like, that's a possibility, like, in our lifetime, right? Like, basically, it's kind of we're heading that direction. I find that stuff fascinating. I know there's always the memes about like Terminator uprising and shit like that.
Yeah.
But it does start to beg the question, like, I'm using my laptop. My laptop's never going to talk back to me, right? But like, if you were to create like genuine artificial intelligence with cognitive capabilities, autonomy, a possibility of realizing like their place in the universe, you probably, like, again, to go back to the Flynn maybe being a failing father figure, not 100% great because he's a human being, so he's fallible. But like the idea that he did make things that were capable of that, and then force them to live in their own like universe in like a pursuit of impossible perfection. Maybe he didn't think everything all the way through, I'm like, I'm not using that as a criticism against the movie. I think that makes it more interesting for someone who's as good as Kevin Flynn was still susceptible to like those human failings and not being able to see that.
But what did he want them to get out? Because he did send Cora out, right? At the end.
The grid like ate itself at the end.
He blew up the grid.
Yeah, he blew up the grid, but I like saying ate itself.
but he sent Cora out purposely with like her ISO stuff, right? Even though the disc was left inside, which was a little weird, but like, do we not need the disc? I don't know. But but the lines from the other people, like the humans, they were saying like Flynn said he was about to change everything, like physics, reality. What did he say? Medicine, like
religion, also.
Yeah.
Again, the movie not being subtle and people just not getting it.
Yeah. But like he did want to take. I guess he didn't want to take the programs out. He wanted to take the ISOs out of the grid.
The ISOs were going to cure everything.
Yeah, which I think is I mean, they were going to explore this in Tron 3, 100%. Like, it wasn't a cliffhanger. It was just like, oh, this is what's next. And then
Yeah, that's why they had Cillian Murphy.
Yeah, he was going to be the villain in 3.
He was
the other son.
Oh, Dillinger Jr.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It would have been another story about like fathers and sons and like the the weight of the sins of the fathers and decisions.
So in Flynn Lives, the epilogue, Alan became chairman of the board, and Sam became CEO, and so Alan goes to the first programmer from NCOM, and he goes, "I'm gonna hire you back."
Goes to RAM,
and he's like, he said like, "Oh, what's happening?" He goes, "The board's out. I'm chairman of the board, but we're keeping Junior." I think he said Junior, but he meant Dillinger Jr. He earned his place. Like, basically, like, was he gonna be the villain? Because they were gonna give him the job. Like, you get to stay on the board because you're actually smart and you work. They were gonna get rid of the dad.
I mean, there was a reason why, like Gene is saying, Cillian Murphy showed up for like 10 seconds and left.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like you're not gonna just have
maybe not a villain in like the traditional sense, just like antagonist, like opposing beliefs.
Also, it's not clear who Dillinger, because they show like they show that like text. It's not clear who Dillinger Jr. is talking to. Is it the dad or is it the MPC, Master Control Program?
It looked like he was in a terminal just trying to delete the video. Is that what you're talking about?
No, when he's like chatting, it shows him like chatting with someone, Dillinger Jr.
He was chatting?
Yeah, there's a scene where Dillinger Jr.'s talking to someone. You think it's the first Dillinger, but it might be the Master Control Program.
Oh.
Is this in the epilogue?
I believe it's in the epilogue.
Is it animated or is it?
No, it's live action.
Live action, yeah.
Maybe there's you know what? There's a second part of the epilogue that you find that I didn't. I like literally have laundry on my bed that I didn't fold because I was watching this so late. I was like, what? I didn't know this existed till last night. And I was like,
dude,
this is for another day.
Yeah. It's yeah.
So, Diego, do we have time to just talk about cool things?
Yeah, we do. And then we could wrap up, and I'll just mention that why I think the ending is like one of the great movie endings of the last decade.
So do you want to end on a good ending, or do you want to end on cool stuff? Because this is your show.
Let's just end on cool stuff. I just think the ending is so perfect for this movie because it's like, here's all the stuff that Flynn, as good a person as he was, fucked up, and he almost finds like redemption in not himself, but like in his legacy. In that, like, he did do a good job, and he could still instill good morals into his flesh and blood son. He fucked up with Clue, but then Cora gives him another opportunity to be like, okay, this is what I worked for in here for so long. I still have a chance to make it right. And so I think there's supposed to be like a romantic thing between them, whatever, right? It doesn't even matter if there is or isn't. That's how much I love this ending, because when they drive off into like the sunset or the sunrise together, and it's like with everything like nature against the city, Vancouver, I think it is, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It's like a perfect marriage of the physical and the digital,
Yeah, and so I hate romance in movies.
Okay.
Unless it's a movie about a romance, I don't like
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
So that's why I like this movie. It was like there's probably something here between them, but that's it.
They didn't kiss.
They didn't kiss.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
She just kind of like puts her head into like his little hoodie while they're on the
motorcycle. Is that why you like Rogue One?
Yes.
Because they all fucking die.
Dude,
spoiler alert.
There's probably more.
It's a Star Wars movie.
Dude, I think it was when they were in the elevator. I'm like, don't kiss. You better not kiss. Do not do it. And they didn't. I'm like, good job.
Well, I think that's better than Rogue One has better romance than like the sequel trilogy where there's such sexless characters.
Yeah.
No, hey, one of them. We're not getting into that. That's too much.
Yeah, I guess.
But I do want to say that
they're cousins who are making out.
I want to say that I think there's a real like humanity to like the human relationships in this movie, even though it takes place completely in a computer for the most part. And I think that's something that I miss from movies, where I don't need, like, I do like romance movies. I'm a big sap for the Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy because they're so earnest and sincere, right?
Spider-Man
But also, that's a trilogy that ends on not a big kiss, but like a, hey, we all fucked up. Let's all just kind of hug it out for a second. We've been through a lot, you know? Like, it's a human thing to have, like, fallibility in relationships, you know? People fuck up sometimes. And sometimes all you need is to just kind of go cruising and watch the sunrise together. It's so very, very sweet.
I had a question about that because you've seen many more films than I have.
A couple.
A lot of films end on sunsets. How many really do end on a sunrise?
Maybe Blade Runner, the original Blade Runner cut, but that sucks. So we don't talk about that.
So, but like, is it common or is it uncommon to end on a sunrise?
I think I don't know. I mean, like,
because this is memorable to me. Like, it obviously she was like, describe the sun, you know, that kind of like, it's a total just callback to that, but it's like it
shows a lot of hope.
Yeah, and I mean, it's very like obvious, like the sun is rising on like a new Earth, like that, or like a new future, you know, all that kind of stuff. But
Blade 2.
Blade 2.
Yeah,
Blade 2 kicks ass. I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw that out there.
I'm not saying anything about it, but yeah. So now, in the ending too, like, you know, you get Tron coming back, right? Mm-hmm. And then you get like the Flynn destroying everything, and the whole like them going through the portal was a cool thing, and like, yeah, it sucks because it really was a cliffhanger. It wasn't a cliffhanger, but it's just like
you wanted more.
It was like more was definitely promised because we really don't know what they're going to do with Korra, right? Do we have any idea? They just said it's going to change everything.
Just a lot of vague stuff that's been put out.
I think it's kind of like, this is going to be weird, and I know maybe Kirk's not going to be crazy about this, but like, since we brought up Star Wars, it's sort of like how The Last Jedi ends with, like, it ends that movie's story. It ends thematically, and then it's just like, anything could happen now. Like, that's all you need for a movie like that, and I think it's all you need for Tron Legacy, where it's like, anything is possible. Yeah, what matters is that they're moving into the future together now.
So that's the thing. If they never said they were going to do a Tron 3, this is like, because I see certain canceled shows where they know it's going to get canceled like before they film the last like 4 episodes, where they wrap it up. And so if there was never a promise of Tron 3, they're like, this is it. Then you just assume they changed the world and the world is better, right?
You have the option is what you're saying.
Yeah. This is like, okay, they were clearly setting something up, and I'm not, but that's the thing. Like what you're saying, it ends thematically. It does. Like, I don't feel like, oh crap, what happened 5 minutes later? Because it's not that type of ending. And you do get the epilogue, and the epilogue is not like, oh, we're answering the questions. It's just like a fun thing. Like, oh, Flynn lives. Like, you know, it's not jokey, but it is a total just bonus feature. It's not, you needed this to like set up everything in the next movie.
It's not like Rise of Skywalker where everything's answered off camera.
Yeah. So
that's don't bring that up here. You don't. So it's not in our house of sanctity.
So yeah, I totally think that it's like a beautiful ending. Like, I don't even think it needed to end in the real world, right? I mean, it's.
I think so.
Did it?
Because it had to come full circle.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But what I don't like, I didn't notice this before. Sam shuts off the computer. You know,
like at the end,
he shuts it off.
But I think
he's got
it's
the little SIM card tray.
Yeah,
it's literally a SIM card tray with the pinhole.
Yeah.
He has the SIM card, so I'm assuming everything was backed up there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
did you notice the symbol on the SIM card?
No.
It's the old identity disc, just the concentric rings.
Oh,
it's blue rings in the middle of the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of unanswered questions.
Can I give a couple shout outs?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I want to give a shout out to Olivia Wilde, like my first real crush. You know, like after Olivia Munn, when I was like, I don't know, 13 years old, 14 years old, really discovering women for the first time.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, Olivia Wilde, she's it. She's it.
She's a very good director now.
Yeah.
She is, yeah. She doesn't really act anymore, right?
No, she's wanted to direct, and so she just kind of like, she's like Bryce Dallas Howard, where they just did a lot of acting jobs, but they're really interested in like making movies themselves.
What did she direct?
Booksmart. Booksmart.
Oh, there you go. That's what it was. That's a good movie.
So I know almost nothing about Olivia Wilde. You think she'd come back for Tron 3?
She was hesitant for coming back the second time around because I think she tweeted out something saying like she wasn't looking forward to like working out or like diet, like not dieting.
Yeah. Well, no, dieting. Like it's okay to say. I mean, it's a valid thing because they had to be in such like literally the best shape out of any humans on the planet to get into those skin suits. Like I don't think that's an exaggeration. You had to be the most fit people on the planet to get into that leather light up gear every day for like this shot for like 60 days. Yeah. You know,
they literally had tubes of air conditioning pumping down onto their heads for every moment they weren't filming because they were like dying in those things. And especially like LED tech back then, like it was hot. And like they had the ring that the identity disc attaches to was a battery. And then under that, there's a little rectangle with a light on it, also a battery. And I think the lights lasted for 7 minutes at a time or something.
You know, speaking of that, shout out to the fighting in this movie. The choreographed fights in it were like ridiculously cool. Rinsler, when he comes out, Jesus, man, does all those flips and stuff. It's so cool.
So they changed to, okay, Diego, what are the different names for the widescreens?
Aspect ratios?
No, I know.
Like lenses?
Oh, okay, you mean like the specific ones?
21:9 versus 16:9. Like which one's anamorphic? The
thin one with the black bars.
Okay, and what's 16:9?
That's the widescreen.
It's just called widescreen?
Yeah, I mean, IMAX is like, Gene, what's IMAX? IMAX is something different, right?
I think it's just called IMAX.
Well,
IMAX, yeah. IMAX is kind of more of a square. It's weird. But.
So they went from anamorphic to widescreen during the arena battles. I just call it arena because it's a song name, and the light cycle race. So the reason I noticed the change, they actually did the change early on in the battle, in the disc games, but I noticed it when Rinsler's flying through the air because you see his like arms stretched out with the discs, and I was like, so this is not a flex because this is just the normal size these days, but I have a 65-inch TV. And
is it?
And it's dude, it's like impossible to buy smaller ones now. But anyways, it's everything was dark. I had all lights off except the Christmas tree, and you just see like the full screen filled with like the blue background, and you just see him flying through the sky or the air, and I'm just like, whoa, like this is intense.
When he was on the light cycle?
No. Just when he's coming after Sam inside the thing. Yeah. So. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to like not talk about the cool things till we get to the cool things portion.
No, just let it all out.
We're in the cool things portion. All right.
Yeah, fuck it.
Light cycle battle. I was looking at like, I think honestly I was helping a friend go through something, but then I had to put my phone down because they split the light cycle open, and I'm like, I need to watch this thing assemble. I wasn't on the phone. I was just like reading, right? But I just like, they split the thing open and then they're in the sky, right? And then like Clue does it first, but then Sam realizes what he's supposed to do, and then the music goes quiet, and you just hear like I had it in my head, but it's gone now. But it's just like the really quiet, like, and then like he's like running forward, and then like in slow motion he's in the air, and it opens up, and they do the same thing at the end of the movie with the planes. With the again, Clue with his like flying V of perfection, like they all run, jump, and then split the things open and turn into freaking airplanes. Like, how cool is that? And I want to know how long that effect took to build those things like in 3D in the air around these things, and like everything's perfectly tracked. By the way, Gene, I wore this black shirt because you're gonna motion track LEDs onto me.
Not doing that.
You know how many times I've wanted to like buy EL wire, like the stuff you use in Vera, like the
I mean, you could do that. I mean,
but I'm like,
I don't have the patience to do that visual effect.
So yeah, I love that kind of thing. Tiny little touches like on when they're on the light cycle grid, and they go on the little ramps, and there's the 3 arrows like that are like little speed ups, like in video games, and you hear like this bring, like video game sound, like totally from 80s arcade machines, and like I just like that stuff because it's like, oh, they care, you know what I mean? And
or like when like I said a little while ago, when they get derez, the effect that they use with that,
when they shatter into like a million pieces of that's actually like work, you know what I mean? And like they even like Korra's arm, like half of it shatters into glass because they like chop it off, and then
and that's a whole thing too, right? Because since she's not she's not data, she's an ISO or whatever, she doesn't get derezed automatically when she gets hit. She doesn't need to be perfect.
Yeah, but then there was that guy on the recognizer. His part of his face was blown out. So I don't know.
It's a little inconsistent, but whatever, you know.
Yeah. And then, but I didn't notice this too much before, just because there's a lot going on. The battle in the End of Line Club when D-Rez is playing, all the like the blue, the good guys, when they just start like attacking Clue's men, like. They like there's like 4 or 5 of them on this one guy, like chopping them to bits with their identity discs. like they're literally like oh jeez. Like, and then I love how Castor / Zeus is just like shooting the little gun around, just like he doesn't care what's going on.
Yeah, what's it? Martin? Who's that?
Michael Sheen.
Michael Sheen.
Yeah.
Michael Sheen is just like camming it up. That whole fucking movie does not give a fuck.
He had like 2 minutes, and he's like, "I'm gonna make my 2 minutes worth it."
Okay, I think he's an ISO.
Because he has too much personality.
He's got a symbol on his forehead, and he's like, it's like whited out. I don't know, and he knows.
Oh, that's interesting. I don't know. I kind of fuck with that theory.
But then they blew him up with Daft Punk.
If anyone doesn't know, Daft Punk dies in this movie.
Yeah, and so
they're dead. Another
thing I thought was cool, back to like the whole God thing, when they're flying down the elevator. And Sam just like, stop the thing, Dad. And Flynn just like puts his hand on the glass, and then like controls come up, and he just like starts hacking. I'm like, geez, like admin privileges, you know? And obviously love like the old light cycle, the little like he just has like that old model, you know? And then like they got rid of that too, like they just gave it to someone.
Yeah,
I think it was like 2012ish, 2013. When I first started my job, I had a USB flash drive that when you plugged it in, it was a light cycle, and it lit up when you plugged it in. It was the coolest thing in the world. It was like
it's probably 4 gigabytes. Or
something. It was. Yeah.
So another weird God thing. Total, again, obvious but cool. When Clue goes into Flynn's house thing, and there's these chrome, you know, future, but like a bowl of chrome apples. You're like, that's like a little too obvious, but you know, the like apple creation,
the garden,
because he picks one up, and he just looks at it, and then like, you know, he destroys the friggin' apartment, and then his little, I love the little assistant guy whose name I don't know, who's just a total flip flopper.
Oh yeah,
Jarvis is actually
that's his name. Yeah,
Jarvis.
Yeah, wow. Iron Man, Jon Favreau, you hack.
So yeah, like when again, another brutal thing, but it's off camera kills, when Sam is like fighting the people before he gets to Flynn's identity disc, you just hear like these like blood curdling screams as he massacres these guys, and then he comes in and sees Jarvis, and Jarvis is just like, "Long live the users," and then literally you only hear one like syllable at the end, but when Clue comes back, Jarvis goes, "Death to the you," and then he gets destroyed. Yeah, say death to the users, and he just dereses them. He's like, you know, there's another word for flip flopper. I don't remember what it is. But
he's like a weasel. He's like a trickster. He's like if Loki didn't have a personality, you know.
Like, and in the right before the light cycle battle, where he says like something like, "Brilliant words, sir. Did you like what I said?" And he's like just like looking for that approval from Clue, which is like kind of interesting. And you know, he hates users, and he gives the thing to Sam like he's just like outstretched, like, "Ew, you're gross," like, you know.
Yeah,
like you're a user.
Yeah, well, they're imperfect, you know.
Yeah, and so I think that's all the cool stuff as far as I in my head, like all the things I think are cool, but you know, all the effects are very good, and they totally hold up. Like the derezzing looks great.
10 years ago too. Like that's a long time.
10 years ago and shot on 1080p.
So don't remind me. I am so mad. Okay.
No 4K?
No. So when I pre-ordered my PS5, I got the disc one because it has a 4K Blu-ray player. I'm like, what 4K Blu-rays can I find? And I was like, where's the 4K copy of Tron Legacy? Like, is there a copy of it? And they haven't released it yet. And then someone from 2012 or something posts this thing. I don't know what it was, but basically they found that it was shot on the Sony 1080p digital camera. And there's no change in that. You know what I mean? I know most of it's fake, but they rendered it in 1080p for sure. Here's what I wonder though. Theaters, they had 4K projectors before 4K was it like, because you know when we remaster things, like they shot them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But back, they could up-res it.
But the PlayStation does that itself. You know what I mean? So I do wonder also. I know we're getting kind of technical, but tons of post-production, and it's all like they got to render these things on computers. A 4K image has 4 times as many pixels as a 1080p image. Were they just like, we're not messing with this because
in 2009?
Yeah, like our computers can't handle this. You know what I mean?
Like Core 2 Duos.
It could have been. I mean,
sorry, go ahead.
Well, just like it's funny that you bring that up because right now, like Gene's gonna roll his eyes because I'm bringing up my favorite filmmaker, Michael Mann. He just released his 4K version of Collateral on home video. Now that was shot at the 2K digital for all of the night scenes, and that movie takes place primarily at night, minus like maybe 5 scenes that were shot on film to differentiate the day and the night stuff. And it got a 4K upscale. So like, and I know you can play with more information on a 2K obviously than like 1080p, but like, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's not going to be true 4K, but like, I'm sure there's something you could do to like kind of fiddle with that. It just won't be like the best looking thing ever, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because Collateral is not a movie that looks like other movies. It looks like handheld digital video for a reason, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, you would have to really like supervise that.
Yeah. Michael Mann's like a crazy person who, if you get something wrong, he'll kill you and your entire family. So maybe Joseph Kosinski's like that, and he's like, "Don't fuck up my baby that got me my career."
Yeah, maybe. Who knows?
I'm always scared though when there's a 4K movie coming out that it's gonna look so good that it'll look worse. Kind of like when I was watching Lord of the Rings 4K.
Like you can't hide
CG stuff anymore.
No, but that's Lord of the Rings is like it's the special effects, yeah, because they haven't all aged great, but like that's got so much going on like on a set and lighting level that I think that's actually one of the better ones for sure.
Yeah.
I think of like a bad one, like for me, I think sometimes 4K tends to wash out a lot of the colors in the transfers because they're going for like texture a lot of the time over like lighting and color.
Here's the other thing though. A lot of stuff is shot 4K HDR and you need an HDR TV for that. And the washed out stuff is gone. And now, you know, you can get into like the saturation is a little weird because the dynamic range is insane, but like there's a big difference there. Now, something about resolution and all this kind of stuff, I think the fact that there's a ton of like crazy lights and glossy stuff makes it seem like higher than 1080. You know what I mean? Like it's like this, the fakeness helps because they did the fakeness very well. 2, would this have been a movie that, not that it's a detractor, but in this day and age would have benefited from like a Hobbit style 48 frames per second? Just Tron in the grid. What if they changed the frame rate between the grid and the real world?
I don't like the look.
I would fuck with it because I am very pro experimenting with that. I think there's apart from like Gemini Man, which is like a perfect film, like they haven't really mastered the frame rate presentation because theaters aren't equipped for that. You know?
What was Gemini?
I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
Was it at 60 FPS?
120.
120.
I think there's only like one theater in the world that played it at 120, and I saw it there at Long Beach.
So one thing I did.
I remember Billy Long's halftime walk is also.
No, that's a bad movie, but that's not because of the frame rate.
Yeah,
So,
the frame rate too.
Besides the scenes in the Shire, in The Hobbit, I appreciated the 48 frames because it does, one, it helps you see it, but two, it forces a director, cinematographer, whatever, I don't know, to not use shaky cam to hide bad fighting and combat. You have to do it right because you're seeing all of it.
They still use the GoPro in that movie though.
Even the GoPro.
Yeah, that's one of the worst.
That's in Desolation of Smog. No, like
I hate
actually,
that.
Oh, that was
like
Desolation
the
of Smog,
frame rate
yeah.
stuff a lot. I totally think it was wrong for The Hobbit because that's like, look at all these goofy costumes.
Yeah, I know
stuff,
that for sure. But I mean, if there was like a couple fight scenes, not like fight scenes, but like there was a lot going on where I'm like, oh, I can actually see everything right now. Like imagine that on a 48 frames per second light cycle battle. You know what I mean? Like them zipping through and nothing's blurry.
Dolby Atmos uploaded. I mean, it's on YouTube, so it's not true 4K, right? But like they uploaded segments of Gemini Man to showcase what they could do with the technology when it was released on home video, and I think it looks amazing. I know not everyone's for that new technology. I think it looks awesome.
Send that because my soundbar decodes Atmos, so
you gotta watch it after this. Then sorry.
So, Gene, I think you were saying something, but we're all.
No, it's just I think it works for Gemini Man.
I have no idea what this is.
The Will Smith movie where he's old Will Smith and young Will Smith.
Oh God, that movie!
It's The Fresh Prince versus Will Smith.
That one was.
It's a good movie.
It's really good.
Is it? I heard it sucked.
All 12
people don't. Everyone said Endgame was like the best movie ever, and no one remembers it now. So who are you going to trust, Kirk? Them or me?
You didn't like season 1 of Mando, so
yeah, but I love this season, and
how do you feel about
everyone
Hamilton?
else is wrong.
How do you feel about Hamilton?
It's okay. I'm Hamiltoned out though. I don't hate it. I definitely don't love it though.
Okay, so then maybe I trust you a little because I don't like it at all. So
no, I'm actually glad to hear you say that because
I wasn't the biggest fan either.
Yeah.
You guys are all.
It's a very Obama era musical, I'll say.
What does that sounds racist?
No.
You can't be racist when you're talking about Hamilton. Come on.
In terms of like policy,
it's very liberal. Is all I'll say.
In terms of ideology and policies.
Yeah, I just didn't like it. But that's neither here nor there. I did love, and I do love Tron Legacy. It's my favorite movie.
Yeah.
Tron Legacy is a great film. I want to recommend something cool from the film. Fucking Daft Punk did the soundtrack.
Yeah.
I was gonna say this probably the best album they've had because Kirk, what was that story you were saying about Daft Punk where they're saying they got really pretentious?
Yeah, I don't like random access memories.
Jesus, man.
Tomas, what did Tomas say in that interview?
He said Kanye West is a genius.
He was until he died in a horrible plane crash in 2016.
Yeah. But yeah, it's probably the best Daft Punk album in the last decade.
It's amazing.
I like Random Access Memories. I'm not going to poo-poo on that.
I love that album. And I like this album.
Okay.
Thank you, Rain.
I listened to it all the way through at work today. I've done that multiple
have some
times.
Good headphones when you're listening to that, though.
I got a good speaker at work. It's like a legit like Sony speaker. I love Sony. Shout out Sony.
Except when they don't work like earlier.
Hey, we got it working.
We did.
Our video looks pretty dang good.
Mm-hmm.
So
we recorded like an hour later than we intended to.
Look, we tried real.
No. I'm not busting balls.
I know.
It was kind of funny.
For the art, Diego.
It's for the art, of course.
For the art. For the users.
There we go. Boom.
Yeah.
I don't know how much more we can add to that. I feel like we should wrap it up after that. That felt like a good note. But final thoughts then. Tron and boys. I'll let you guys go, and then Gene and I will wrap this up.
Yeah, after you.
All right. I gotta say, every moment watching the movie, whether it was what was going on the screen or what was coming through the speakers, I literally like would have a grin on my face, like, yes, like this is the part where this happens, and this is the part where this happens. Like, absolutely adore this movie, and I think anyone crapping on it is just mad about how pretty it looks. Like, it never said it was gonna be some Oscar-winning film.
Right.
It didn't try to do. Huh?
Could have been.
It should have been.
But it wasn't. It wasn't trying to be high art. You know what I mean? It knew what it was, It's beautiful. It's a fun movie. The story is like, I don't need cerebral crap all the time. Sometimes I just want a good story that I can follow, that's like got some references to things. Maybe sometimes it's like obvious. Doesn't matter. Good storytelling in my eyes. And the music is phenomenal. And it's still just, it looks beautiful. And, de-aged Jeff Bridges in the real world looks weird. On the grid, I'm like, he's a fabricated character anyway.
Yes.
It doesn't take me out. It doesn't. It's a little weird, but it's not like this like egregious, terrible thing. You know what I mean? It's not. And you really do forget it because you're just focusing on how freaking creepy and evil he is anyway. So works for me. Love it. Probably going to watch it again in the next month. I will.
The one thing I take away the most, I think, from Tron Legacy is how much I just like love the immersion of it. I like how much I would want to actually spend time in that world, even more so than just watching the movie. Like I would want to play a new version of that in Kingdom Hearts, just run around how the world would be. You know what I mean? Just like being in that's the thing I like most about that movie. So
I do want to add, I think about Christmas every single day of the year. I think about Tron at least once a week. I'm not joking. I'm not being cartoony. I'm very cartoony about things. I literally do think about Tron Legacy at least once a week. Just saying.
I respect that.
It's a Christmas movie.
No, it's not. But it came out around Christmas, and it should be watched on Christmas.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
Gene, final thoughts from you.
Just from rewatching it, go off of Rainwater, saying just love the world. I love being in the grid. I just love all the immersion into that. Just it's so well thought out. I would, I love like when people reference Tron, like it's in Wreck-It Ralph too. They're in the light cycles and things, just like little things like that. Like when people appreciate it, I'm like, oh, you get it, When they see someone loving Tron, I'm like, yes. And want to do a shout out to Bruce Boxlight, who's doesn't get enough credit in this movie. I mean, he voices Rinsler and everything.
I love his voice. He's got a
his
cool
voice.
So what you were saying about shout outs and before the shout out to Frankie first of all because he loves Tron, but you're saying like references and stuff. Someone on Reddit, they brought up Tron or whatever, and the comment just said "not anymore." And there was a trailer of unaired footage where Clue, Sam's like, "Are you my dad?" or something like that, and Clue just goes, "Not anymore." But it's just like didn't make it into the film, and like someone was like the next comment I read was like, "I got that reference. That's a deep cut," and it is. So I love that word. People who love Tron, they love Tron. You know what I mean? But
yeah. On shout out to Logan Kenny, friend, fellow podcaster. I know he's going to appreciate this episode because apart from you, Kirk, he might be the biggest Tron Legacy fan that I know.
Wow. Wait, he? Yeah. Did he talk about? I feel like this has come up. Like I was on the show once and you guys brought him up or something like that. But anyways, it's not here.
Probably he's been a pal for a while. We did a 24-hour fundraiser. Well, he did a 24-hour fundraiser this year for the NHS over in the UK, and then I hopped on for like an hour to talk about Logan and or the Wolverine. That's a good movie too. Not as good as Tron Legacy, which I'm very glad you boys were all here to talk about today. It's really good to see you guys. Hopefully we'll see each other soon, safely, accordingly. Why don't you go ahead and let the people know where they can find you online?
Right.
If this is like back to being in mousekeeping.
I'm not doing the thing again.
Anyways, you can find us at Trammin Podcast on Instagram. For all other links, you can go to trammin.com. We're on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube.
Oh, you should I tell the people what we're on?
Oh man, yeah. There's a long list.
We're on.
Bring it.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Podcast, Overcast, Amazon Music, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Pandora, TuneIn plus Alexa, Podcast Addict, Castro, Castbox, Podchaser, Pocket Casts, Deezer, Listen Notes, Player FM, Podcast Index, Podfriend. You can download our MP3 on trammin.buzzsprout.com, and you check us out on YouTube.
Yeah, we spent a lot of effort to make the video look good, and we get like 20 views a week.
Yeah, and subscribe and we can get youtube.com/Trammin, but we don't.
Because right now we're just a user in the YouTube world.
Yeah.
Yeah, follow us.
Look, don't take it personally. It's YouTube.
No, we don't. Yeah, but yeah, Trammin A Disneyland Podcast. Listen to two friends just talk about how much they love Disneyland. If you want Disney history, don't come here. We don't know what we're talking about.
Go watch Defunctland.
Yeah, thanks so much, guys, again for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Is that plugs? Is that it then for that?
I mean,
that was a lot, but
I think that's all we got.
yeah, I mean,
I just want to make sure.
If you like Disneyland, you're gonna like our show, and we'll be happy to have you. And we take listener submissions constantly. We just if you write into the Instagram that's not Rain, I'll put you in the show.
Otherwise, I forget.
He just forgets.
Every single week I forget somebody.
Yeah. So yeah.
Gene, where can the people find you now?
You could find me on Twitter and Instagram, Gene9892.
And you could follow me at the Twitter at the Diego Crespo, and check out the Waffle Press on Twitter, YouTube, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, and Patreon, where you can get early access to other stuff. I'm going to try to write some more stuff on there. We have a couple episodes banked for the new year coming around. So stay tuned for that. A little something for Christmas. And lots of other exciting stuff on there. Gene and I are working out stuff for the new year, and I'm really excited to get to it. And I'm really excited to share it. So thank you so much again, everyone. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because if you didn't like this episode, which is hard to believe, you can like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something you do like. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.